Well, I would defy them to really put down some good information as how they perceive this as taking anything away from an injured worker. This is truly trying to take workers who at some stage, if you look at the chart, at some stage in here, you know, that have literally been abandoned with an injury or a disease or some kind of an illness, that we've abandoned them to fund for themselves, and we're trying to wrap our arms around trying to help them through this process. You know, my office, as my legislative AHO will tell you, has been ringing off the phone with many folks wanting to come in and chat with me. A fair amount of attorneys that have work for law firms that predominantly represent the injured worker, including one of my prior law firms that I worked for, fresh out of college. Not that I'm an attorney, but that I work for that specialized in workers' compensation. I've certainly heard from them. You know, I am more than happy to sit down and go through every single line item in this legislation, and I defy them to find something that's punitive or taking away. This is all about trying to help injured workers manage what's going on with their claim to their betterment.
On the other side of the coin, the idea of allowing private competition to compete, private insurers to compete with the BWC has been studied for many years now. What would you say to business owners that might be baffled about the idea of basically the caucus pretty much endorsing the state-run monopoly system that we have now?
You know, that's such a great question, and I got to tell you, when I first came in here, and even before I was a state representative, when I would come down here and just sit in on committee meetings just so I could have fun harassing some of these guys and hearing what was going on, you know, that was always sort of my envision, was we need competition, we need a private side, a competitive side to this. But the more that I have learned and the more that I have studied, you know, I find it very interesting that we really have a system that has the ability to function well. We just need to bring it up to date. We need to make it user-friendly. We need to keep it focused not on a system but on a specific individual. And it's impossible for me to tell any business owner that a private competitive marketplace is going to be better when I don't know how good we can get our own system. And I think that's been one of the things that has been most enlightening to me, is probably that. You know, it's intuitive to think that because we're one of the only ones in the country with a setup like we have, that we must be wrong. And yet, for in a big way, our current system works and functions an awful lot like an insurance plan right now. It happens to be a state one. So I've argued that issue myself. I've argued that issue. I've done the pluses and minuses. I've done the counter debate with myself, and realized that it's impossible to change something that you don't know what it is yet. And I think that what we're doing with the Bureau and what the administrators doing with the Bureau is really creating a best practice Bureau that then we can have that conversation with later.
Let me just say, I have a unique position here. I also sell workers' comp to other states, and when I decided to run for office, I went to all my commercial clients and I said, what do I need to do to make business better in Ohio? And workers' comp was high on everybody's list. But they didn't say that our system didn't work. They don't know if the system really works as good as other states or not. They just want the system to work better. And as I say, getting a worker back to work is probably key for the employers.